Good evening. I'm Tanya O'Rourke. Craig is off tonight. New at 11, an admitted child molester under the supervision of the Archdiocese of Cincinnati has spent the last 6 years in a leadership position in a local Episcopal church. The Archdiocese refuses to discuss it. That's part of a 3-month-long 9 on Your Side I-Team investigation into local priests and brothers publicly accused of sexually abusing children. But our investigation also discovered dozens of those names do not appear on a local list of credibly accused priests. Chief investigative reporter Craig Cheatham explains why critics believe a culture of silence in the Catholic Church continues to put children at risk.
Dan Pater traveled the world as a high-ranking diplomat for the Vatican. Now the Catholic priest is on a different road as a bus driver identified as Driver Dan on the Facebook page of the Butler County Regional Transit Authority. Pater has also served as director of music at St. Simon of Cyrene Episcopal Church in Lincoln Heights. St. Simon hired Pater in March 2014, 1 month after the Vatican announced it had permanently banned Pater from active ministry. The Archdiocese says Pater confessed to sexually abusing a 14-year-old girl while he was a priest in the early 1980s.
He's not our director of music any longer.
St. Simon pastor Reverend Mary Lehman said she didn't know about Pater's history of sexual abuse until the 9 on Your Side I-Team told her in October. She declined to elaborate.
I'm not going to talk to you about that right now. We're here to celebrate a festival, and I don't really want this to detract from the really good things we're doing.
A spokesman for the Episcopal Diocese of Southern Ohio said Reverend Lehman fired Pater the same day we told her about his past. Cincinnati Archbishop Dennis Schnurr has refused the I-Team's request to explain how Pater, a confessed child molester, could assume a leadership position in a different church for nearly 6 years while under the supervision of the Archdiocese.
Well, it is a big deal because it's a church, and that's where he ended up getting his victims, because it's easier to seduce and to groom a victim in a church environment than it is probably anywhere else if you're a priest.
It's part of a disturbing pattern documented in a 3-month investigation by the I-Team, which found local Catholic Church officials failing to track priests accused of abuse, refusing to disclose to the public all of the names of priests with credible allegations, and still refusing to answer questions about why more information isn't available. The I-Team's investigation identified 92 priests and Catholic brothers who were publicly accused of child sexual abuse and worked in the Cincinnati area at some point in their ministries. Our investigation found 59 of them are not named on a local list of credibly accused priests. The Archdiocese of Cincinnati has 33 priests named on its website as being credibly accused of sexual abuse. The Archdiocese added 11 names to its list after WCPO first asked questions in August about why some accused priests and brothers weren't listed. The Archdiocese called the public list part of an ongoing process to identify priests and be more transparent. The Diocese of Covington doesn't publish a list of credibly accused priests.
In general, they still don't get it.
Tom Doyle, a former canon lawyer for the Vatican, says he's reviewed more than 1,000 priest sex abuse cases as an expert witness and consultant, including cases in the Cincinnati area.
They do not understand or comprehend the breadth and depth of the damage that happens when a child, a minor or even adult, is sexually assaulted or violated by a priest. They don't get that.
Pater is only the most recent example.
How long does a cycle have to repeat itself before you don't believe the next lie?
Dave Harper was raped in 1991 by Catholic priest Robert Pondle. Harper was a 10-year-old altar boy.
Right after he abused me, he told me that he sinned, I sinned, that our sins were between us and God, and required me to, or made me sit down and pray for forgiveness.
Harper says he became angry, depressed, and suicidal.
My childhood basically ended when I was 10.
Unlike Pater, Pondle was charged and convicted. In 2014, Pondle was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison, where he died this year.
For me, like for the abuser to have had accountability, that is incredibly important.
Pondle had been a priest with the Glen Mary Home Missioners, a Catholic order based in Fairfield. It took the Glen Marys and the Archdiocese of Cincinnati until last month, nearly 6 years after his conviction, to finally publicly identify Pondle on a list of priests who had a substantiated allegation of abuse made against them.
I don't have much faith in the hierarchy of the Catholic Church as it stands.
Only a few local priests have been sentenced to prison or jail for crimes against children. All of them were banished from the priesthood. At least 8 of them still live in the Cincinnati area, including George Cooley, who pleaded guilty in 1991 to charges of child endangerment and sexual imposition involving 4 boys between the ages of 10 and 13.
The Catholic Church still has not developed any mechanism for following these priests. You know, when they are laicized, dismissed from the clergy, the Catholic Church washes its hands of them.
Attorney Conrad Kircher has represented victims of priest abuse for 2 decades.
Laicization is a form of accountability, but on the other hand, it just throws these people out into the public. They can go off and form a new life and re-victimize.
Dan Pater was not banned from the priesthood, and he's still a bus driver in Butler County. Should the Butler County Regional Transit Authority have hired Dan Pater as a bus driver? Based on what you know about him today.
You know, he doesn't have a criminal record.
Matthew Dukevitz, the executive director of the Butler County Regional Transit Authority, says Pater, like all employees, passed a thorough criminal background check. That background check didn't include an online search using Pater's name, which would have revealed his history of abuse.
He's an employee in good standing right now. We don't have an issue.
Once again, Dan Pater was never charged with a crime. Mr. Pater has not responded to several requests for comments or messages that we left on a phone number linked to his most recent home address, as well as additional messages through social media. A spokesman for the Episcopal Diocese of Southern Ohio says the diocese will use this situation as an opportunity to help St. Simon to be more diligent in their hiring processes and advance common concerns for the protection of children. The Archdiocese of Cincinnati repeatedly declined to answer any questions about Dan Pater, including if it notified the Episcopal Church or St. Simon's. The Diocese of Covington told us last week it is reviewing all of its priest files, but it will not say if it plans to release a list of credibly accused priests. Craig Cheatham, 9 on your side.
Craig, this is incredibly important information. And by the way, folks, if you or someone you know is a survivor of sexual abuse and you need help, we do have a list of resources right now on WCPO.com. Tomorrow night at 11, the I-Team reveals new allegations of abuse and a disturbing pattern in priest assignments. It's part 2 of Culture of Silence.